You know him, you love him. For over 80 years, this cat and mouse duo has been a global icon of comedy, all without saying a single word. But what if I told you the story behind the chaos is one of pure desperation, a creator's scream, and idea that was rejected so hard it almost never happened? Well, let's get into it.
So here's the big question we're tackling. How does a cartoon with zero dialogue, that was basically a last-ditch effort to save a failing studio, go on to become a worldwide sensation and win 7 Academy Awards? I mean, how does that even happen? The answer is pretty amazing.
Okay, so to get this story, we've got to rewind the clock. We're going back to the late 1930s at the MGM Animation Studio. And to put it mildly, things were not going great. They were getting absolutely hammered by the competition.
At the time, Disney wasn't just another studio, they were the whole game. They set the standard for everything. And MGM's cartoons, by comparison, just felt slow, kind of dull. They lacked that spark. The studio needed a hit, and they needed it yesterday. So who do the bosses turn to in this crisis? Not their star players. Nope. They tapped 2 animators, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, who were pretty much seen as replaceable. They were given a Hail Mary pass. Create something brilliant, make it cheap, and do it fast. No pressure, huh? Their entire careers were on the line.
All right, so with their backs against the wall, Hanna and Barbera get to work and cook something up. And let me tell you, what they showed the studio executives was not what they wanted to see. In fact, the execs' reaction almost killed the entire thing before it even started.
So their first short was called Puss Gets the Boot. And get this, the characters we know and love weren't even Tom and Jerry yet. The cat was named Jasper, and the mouse was Jinx. I know, right? It was made with basically no money and 0 expectations. It was just an experiment.
And the verdict from the top brass? They hated it. Hated it. They said it was way too violent, the sound was just a bunch of noise, and the biggest crime of all? No one talked. They officially pulled the plug on any more episodes. For a hot second, it looked like Jasper and Jinx were complete failure.
But then, something incredible happened. The cartoon wasn't saved by the suits in the boardroom, it was saved by the only people who really matter, the audience. This was the moment Hanna and Barbera got the chance to perfect what would become their secret, timeless formula for success.
See, when Puss Gets the Boot actually made it into theaters, people went absolutely nuts for it. The laughter was explosive. Theater owners started calling MGM, begging for more of that cat and mouse cartoon. The public had spoken so loudly that the studio had no choice but to listen. Tom and Jerry were officially born out of pure audience demand.
So, what was the secret sauce? What made it work so well? Let's break it down. The first ingredient was a really gutsy choice for the time: silence. Remember, most cartoons were packed with witty dialogue. Hanna-Barbera decided to just get rid of it, all of it.
And it was an absolute stroke of genius. With no words, there are no language barriers. A frying pan to the head is funny in English, Japanese, Spanish, you get it. The comedy is purely physical, and that's a universal language. It's the key reason this cartoon exploded globally.
Okay, the second secret ingredient is my personal favorite, and it's all about authenticity. You know that legendary high-pitched scream Tom does whenever he gets hurt? Well, that wasn't some polished voice actor. The truth is way, way cooler.
That's right, it was the co-creator William Hanna himself. He would literally go into the recording booth and just scream his lungs out, sometimes to the point of hurting his own voice. The pain you hear sounds real because, well, it kind of was. That raw energy is something you just can't fake.
The third secret was all about how they handled the violence. They basically invented a new language for it, what we now call cartoon physics. It's a universe where you can get flattened by an anvil, and the only consequence is that you're shaped like an accordion for a few seconds before popping right back to normal.
But here's the key. This chaos was meticulously planned. They had very strict rules inspired by silent film legends like Charlie Chaplin. Every gag was timed with mathematical precision. There was a strict no-blood rule, no permanent injuries, and recovery was always instant. This made the violence hilarious instead of horrifying.
And the final ingredient? Pure psychology. There's a deep-seated reason we almost always root for Jerry. See, Tom represents the big guy, authority, rules, power. But Jerry, he's the clever little guy. He's rebellion, intelligence, and freedom. We are hardwired as humans to root for the underdog, and Jerry is the ultimate underdog.
So now, with their 4-part formula perfected, Hanna-Barbera weren't just surviving anymore. They were dominating, and they were about to get the ultimate revenge on the execs who tried to shut them down.
7. That's the number that says it all. The cartoon that was once called Too Violent and Too Noisy went on to win 7 Academy Awards for Best Animated Short Film. It's just incredible.
And just look at this run. They won in 43, 44, 45, and 46. That's 4 years in a row, an unheard-of winning streak. Every single one of those Oscars was a massive statement proving just how wrong the studio bosses had been.
But like all good things, the golden age came to an end. In 1957, MGM closed its animation division and Hanna-Barbera left. Other people tried to make more Tom and Jerry cartoons later, but the magic was gone. It just proved that the secret formula wasn't just the idea, it was the creators themselves.
Which brings us to the real soul of this whole thing, the philosophy that makes Tom and Jerry completely immortal. It's not really about the gags or the clever traps, it's about something much deeper, the chase itself.
William Hanna said it himself. The goal was never for Tom to actually catch Jerry. If he did, what would be the point? The show would be over. Their whole reason for existing, the reason we watch, is the chase. It's the conflict that never ends.
And that's the ultimate takeaway here. The beauty of Tom and Jerry isn't about who wins or loses any single fight. It's that they give each other purpose. The chase is eternal. They weren't created to win or lose. They were created to chase forever. And that right there is what makes them timeless.